Hello, and welcome to Connected with Latham, where we discuss ideas, legal developments, and business trends shaping the global economy. I'm Tom Evans, a private equity M&A partner in Latham & Watkins' London office. In this episode, we discuss gaming and how PE buyers are likely to see more investment opportunities in the gaming industry. I'm joined today by a fellow partner from the Silicon Valley office, Greg Roussel. Greg advises both emerging companies and global market-leading clients in the media, social networking, enterprise software, electronic gaming, and mobile application sectors. And I understand, Greg, a keen gamer yourself. Thanks for joining.
My pleasure.
I'm excited today to talk about the piece that you co-authored in Latham & Watkins' PE Views titled PE Goes Gaming. The statistics around gaming are staggering. In 2020, the global gaming market reached a valuation of $135.8 billion US dollars, accounting for about 53% of the digital media industry. 53% is phenomenal. I think a lot of people would be surprised that gaming has become such a dominant part of the digital media landscape, Greg.
Yes, gaming's massive right now and has been for some time. But the growth we've seen during the pandemic has been particularly noteworthy. Global video game revenue in 2020 jumped 20% to about $180 billion, making that sector larger than the film and North American sports industries combined.
Wow. I'm sure there are some keen gamers amongst our PE Views audience as well, Greg, contributing to that spike. But for our buyout fund clients, are PE houses taking note?
Yes, PE has demonstrated a growing appetite for gaming deals, especially those with successful online multiplayer titles and loyal followings that can last for years.
And is the uptick in gaming and gaming deals something that you expect to continue, particularly now that people are able to get out of their homes and be tempted away from their screens?
Definitely. The gaming sector has undoubtedly benefited from COVID-19 precipitated changes to consumer behaviors, but the uptick in gaming adoption is not merely a temporary spike. Market forecasts project about 10.2% annual growth through 2025, with sales rising across all formats, consoles, mobile games, and esports.
Impressive, Greg. As the gaming sector continues to boom, do you believe that PE buyers will continue to see more investment opportunities?
I do. The gaming sector has developed significantly in the last 5 to 10 years, attracting more institutional investors while also remaining fragmented with smaller players developing exciting titles and new ideas. We've seen venture capital firms, just for example, enjoy a lot of success in the video game space, which we believe is likely to generate a strong pipeline of acquisition opportunities for PE buyers. I'd also add that we also anticipate significant scope for PE-sponsored buy and build activity across the industry.
Crikey, that is a broad array of deal makers, Greg. Should PE expect competitive tension on attractive acquisitions then?
You know, it's certainly true that there's no shortage of exit opportunities for attractive gaming assets. We've seen SPACs and the public markets, particularly NASDAQ, offer viable exit routes for developers from around the world. Also, a growing number of well-capitalized developers are seeking acquisition opportunities of smaller studios with large-cap gaming companies prepared to pay high multiples for strong assets.
Right. So how can PE houses be successful?
The M&A activity in gaming now is truly global, with robust gaming industry taking root in markets all over the world, ranging from Stockholm to Zagreb to Tel Aviv. However, the industry's globalization can bring challenges for deal makers seeking to navigate complex and conflicting rules around the world.
Interesting. So you'd say, Greg, that a legal team that can operate across jurisdictions is a plus then?
Definitely, it is. Deal makers will usually need to verify key IP and software ownership issues, including use of open source software, external developer risks, and securing trademark protections and other IP rights across jurisdictions. Deal makers will need to verify key IP and software ownership issues, including use of open source software, external developer risks, and securing trademark protections and other IP rights across key jurisdictions.
Understood, Greg. And earlier on, you mentioned rules and regulations. What does that mean in a gaming context?
Compliance may not be a topic that immediately comes to mind when thinking about gaming, but it actually is really important. The huge increase in users is a key driver of many successful games, bringing privacy and child protection regulations into focus. While the regulatory landscape has improved as global regulators clarify their stance on sector-specific issues like in-game purchases, there's still a lot of challenges that remain. European regulators have articulated ambitions to enhance consumer protection and have targeted cross-border selling restrictions of games.
And what does that mean in practice, Greg? Are we seeing fines, or what are the regulatory behavior?
Indeed, loot box use has witnessed greater enforcement, particularly in Europe. Notably, a leading game develop company received a €10 million fine this last year over loot boxes.
Ouch. And Greg, just one for the people who don't have a console next to their laptop on their desk. What's a loot box?
A loot box is it's a game feature that is considered gambling in certain situations. It allows access to a virtual box of items for in-game use, either acquired by gameplay or purchased for real dollars.
Thanks for that. Appreciate it. And any other issues that deal teams should look out for?
I'd flag that firms looking to buy into the sector should also consider that video game developers often require a significant upfront and ongoing investment, particularly in marketing spend. Games can take several years to develop, especially in the console space, which requires fairly significant capital outlay before the title is ever launched. However, some successful games, they can have a lifespan lasting for more than a decade. Notable examples include Carlyle's acquisition of Jagex, which makes RuneScape, and Sonova Capital's sale of its position in Tonic Games, which makes Fall Guys, both of which we advised on.
Nice. It's been a pleasure speaking with you about how gaming has become a dominant part of the media landscape. Thanks very much, Greg, for joining me today.
Pleasure's been all mine, Tom. Thank you.
Thank you for listening to this episode in our Connected with Latham podcast series. You can subscribe and listen to new and archived episodes of Latham's podcasts on lw.com, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, or anywhere else you listen to podcasts. If you'd like more information about the topics discussed today, please email us from the links located in the show description. We hope you'll join us again next time.
This podcast is provided as a service of Latham & Watkins LLP. Listening to this podcast does not create an attorney-client relationship between you and Latham & Watkins LLP, and you should not send confidential information to Latham & Watkins LLP. While we make every effort to assure that the content of this podcast is accurate, comprehensive, and current, we do not warrant or guarantee any of those things. And you may not rely on this podcast as a substitute for legal research and/or consulting a qualified attorney. Listening to this podcast is not a substitute for engaging a lawyer to advise you on your individual needs. Should you require legal advice on the issues covered in this podcast, please consult a qualified attorney. Under New York's Code of Professional Responsibility, portions of this communication contain attorney advertising. Prior results do not guarantee a similar outcome. Results depend upon a variety of factors unique to each representation. Please direct all inquiries regarding the conduct of Latham & Watkins attorneys under the New York's disciplinary rules to Latham & Watkins LLP, 885 3rd Avenue, New York, New York, 10022-4834. Phone number 1-212-906-1200.